Hello, welcome to our video. Hopefully all of you can enjoy this video. In this video, our materials is about language testing skill listening. Well, let me introduce ourselves first. Hello, I am Lita Sintia. My student number is 1811040230. I am as the moderator and also the first speaker.
Hello, my name is Kiki Styaningsih. My student's number 1811040071. I'm as the second speaker.
Now, let's start the presentation. In these materials that we have 3 points. The first is limited response, the second is multiple choice appropriate response, and the third is testing extend communication. But before we continue our presentation, let me give you the basic of these materials. In these materials, we need to know: first, what is listening test? Second, why test listening? Listening test is evaluate proficiency in the listening skill itself, namely listening comprehension. Comprehension test is concerned with word communication. Moreover, word communication is concerned not with the beats and pitches of language, but with the exchange of facts and ideas, as well as interpreting the speaker's intentions. Assess how well a student has mastered what has been thought listening skill is one of the language skill. To be developed, receptive skill to be proficiency in the language means to be able to listen effectively. This chapter begins a variety of ways to listening test comprehension of beginning student. It then examines the appropriate response technique and it concludes with the testing extend communication. So, in the listening test, there are limited response. In limited response, there are 3 simple effective ways to test listening skill of beginning adults or children. The first one involves listening and native language response. The second is another uses listening and picture cues. A third is involve listening plus simple task responses. And for the next is about the native language response. In this technique, we can use a small quiz that can be used in the early learning. For example, I teach the Spanish, German, and Arabic. Then I ask them to listen to a single English audio. Then I give them a question of English. Then they may answer by using their native language. And for the next is about the picture cues. Using visual image technique, can use sketch with the help of projectors. Then student identify image or can also with true or false according to the pictures. Next, task responses. Task responses can be done individually or group. Example of drawing task. Student listen to the instructor given by the teachers. And next, alternate form of limited response. Choosing the best statement. Student look at the one pictures, but they hear 3 statements. They choose the one that best match the pictures.
Okay, next about multiple choice appropriate response. There are 3 guidelines to keep in mind when preparing multiple choice appropriate response item to test listening comprehension. Focus on meaning, keep the option simple, and learn to adjust the difficulty of the item. Focus on meaning. When writing multiple choice appropriate response items, use vocabulary and grammar that your students already know. The object is to measure only the student's understanding of a particular sentence or short dialogue. For the example question like, when Jack leaves, they will hire you one day. A. Yes, he will. B. Yes, he is leaving. C. Yes, they will. The correct reply is C. Notice that students, in order to answer correctly, have to see what information is directly related to a question and what is not directly related to it. For example, the question suggests that Jack will leave. But this is not the main point of the inquiry. Therefore, B is not appropriate. Keep the options simple. Look at the example again. Notice how simple and brief the three options are. Each one is only about 3 words long. Students have to keep the stem in their memory. They won't hear it a second time. Therefore, we use only 3 options and we keep this brief. So, the students won't become confused. Notice, so that the options are simpler than the stem. In addition, you can see that these distractors are all grammatically correct. They are simply not suitable for this particular context. Learn to adjust the difficulty of the items. We can take items like those illustrated in this example, and we can make them easier or more difficult. In other words, we can adjust them to match what we have taught our students. Suppose we need an easier question, we could simplify the same and we could make the distractors seem less correct. Let's look at the example again. We can change the more difficult higher to help, and then shorten the sentence to will they help you. Now change distractor B to I did. Keep distractors A and C as they are. The result is a much easier question. Will they help you? A. Yes, you will. B. I did. C. Yes, they will. Testing extended communication. Our survey of listening tests will not be complete without looking at the exam of extended oral communication. Students, especially those in college, need to understand talks and lectures. Also, many of our students want to understand movies, radio, and TV programs, ranging from advertisement to newscasts and radio drama. Students can be given audio about talk, stories, or something else to find out the gist of what is said in the audio. After listening to this brief lecture and taking notes on it, students will answer printed questions. We have alternate forms of extended communication tests. The first is examiner voice. Following a dialogue, we can introduce a third voice. For example, after an advertisement, the examiner might ask, "Where is this conversation taking place?" The student will then read, A. At a church, B. At a restaurant, C. At home. Second is sentence completion. A printed sentence completion item is also acceptable. For example, item could be written in this form. During this discussion, the lady blah blah blah. A. Book an airplane ticket. B. Check on someone's flight. C. Check in at an airline terminal. And the last, or the third, is open-ended responses. It is possible to provide a spoken question without multiple choice options. These are easier to write, but they put more of a burden on the student and they complicate scoring. But if only simple responses are called for, this is a legitimate alternative to the multiple choice listening comprehension question. After the airline check-in passage, we will have the following. What time of the day is it? And students can create their own answers regardless of multiple choice.
Thank you and thanks for watching.